and welcome to stringsavvy.com Violin Lesson number 1. My name is Tom and I'll be guiding you along. In this very first lesson we'll be covering just the basics. I'm assuming that you know nothing about the instrument and that this is in fact your very first instrument. That being said, let's take a look over the violin and a little bit of how it works. The main piece is called the body, and although every nook of this instrument affects the sound, this is where a large part of it comes from. Moving up the neck, this long skinny piece, that's where your hand's going to spend most of its time. Really all of its time, while the fingers spend the time on this black piece known as the fingerboard. Going up, we have our pegs. The pegs will affect the actual pitch or tuning of the strings. You can demonstrate here. Moving down the strings to our bridge, you'll see this is one of the most important parts of the instrument. The bridge not only holds the strings up, elevating them off the fingerboard, but also it carries all vibrations from these strings through the bridge down into a post in here called the sound post that's actually inside the violin. Now it travels from the top through the sound post to the back of the instrument, and then from there shooting out of these F holes in front. This little piece here is called the chin rest, and obviously the reason is because that's where your chin goes. Some people try and put their cheek there, and that's probably bad form and also bad for the neck. Okay, so a little bit about care and storage. The violin is made of wood, which means that it is susceptible to moisture and humidity. Too much humidity can harm the varnish or even cause parts to come off, because oftentimes violins are made with a water-based glue. Or if it's too dry, you can cause cracks and fractures in the instrument. It is important to never leave this instrument in harsh conditions for that reason. If it's too hot or too cold, you can once again have it crack. If you do have an ice-cold instrument, make sure to let it warm up before playing it, as the vibrations in a stiff instrument may also cause a crack. Also, never set an instrument, even if it's in its case, next to an air vent or a window, for the same reasons. The bridge on your instrument, as I said before, is very important. Therefore, you should take care of it. Each one of these strings puts on anywhere from 17 to 20 pounds of tension on the bridge. Collectively, that means that this little piece of wood is carrying about 80 pounds of tension, and that's not even when you're playing it with a bow. So, never set your instrument upside down or set things on top of it. Also, while it's in its case, remember that to either have your case resting this way, or this way, but never this way. Same reason, because even though it's in its case, it is still resting on the bridge. The pegs are, obviously, as we said, were used for tuning, but don't mess with these unless you have some experience or you know what you're doing. The reason being is that if you happen to go too tight, your pegs will actually snap the strings, and then you gotta shell out the money for a new one. Alright, now one of the most important things that we'd like to start off with is counting. If you can't count, you're gonna have a lot of trouble in the next coming lessons. So all you have to do to count is count to 4. Now, anyone can count to 4, but can you count to 4 on what's called on beat or on rhythm? So let's try that for a second. I'm going to put a song on, and we're going to count along to the beat, just like tapping your foot to a song. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now, an example of being offbeat would be something like, see, it's not quite hitting right on that solid rhythm. Now, to get an example of something a little more upbeat, let's move on to Sexy Back. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a little bit faster. So your assignment this week is to listen to some songs and clap along to the beat and count out loud.